Welcome to the Dog and Gus Show, now on Feel It Radio.
What's up, Doc?
Not much, Gus. You?
Good, you. What do you got going on today? What's happening?
Well, we got a couple guys. We had our first couple. And I don't mean platonic. I mean 2 people is what I mean. From Seven Snakes in today. We've got Carl and we've got Kevin.
Yeah, 2 great guys. Great music, guys. I loved your stuff, so I was listening to it actually before you got here.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Right on.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Likewise.
Yeah. So, guys, where Seven Snakes? Where did that come from? Need to know.
Yeah, so
Because there's not 7. There's not 7 guys in the band.
we get that all the time.
I'm
Why
sure.
are there not 7 guys? Anyways, it's actually when I founded the band back in 2016, excuse me. So I was looking for a name, and I've always been a huge fan of the band Seven Dust. I still am.
Nice.
One of my all-time favorite bands.
Hell yeah.
So I took the first portion of that name, Seven, and then one night I was watching. I hadn't come up with the full name yet, so one night I was watching TV and had a few beers and started watching the movie Snakes on a Plane. So that second part came from that movie. So I put the 2 together. I'm like, it's a cool name. So that's how the name became what it is.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm surprised that movie didn't get an Academy Award, actually.
This guy's being modest, actually, because I tell you straight up, he is a never endless supply of original and cool sounding band names.
That's awesome.
So if you ever break up, he's got the next band name ready.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the pile of the book,
Okay, so we did Seven Snakes, and
Yeah.
now
We're on to
6 Vestal
8
Virgins.
Lions.
Nice.
So where did Kevin? Where'd you meet everybody? Were you all kind of in the community?
So, yeah, I mean, I was in a band prior to this band. I've been in a few bands prior to this band, but the last band I was in was about 3 years stint with them. And when I decided that I wanted to do something different because the band that I was in at the time wasn't allowing me to do, not that they weren't allowing me, just my writing style and where I was going with them just didn't fit my needs anymore. So I ended up parting ways with them. I took off about roughly a year before starting the actual band. We've gone through a few lineup changes, unfortunately. So the initial lineup was me. I don't know I'm sure you're very familiar with Taming Sardi in Ottawa. The singer from that band was my original singer for Seven Snakes. And then we had a drummer and bass player, and things kind of went okay for the first 6 to 8 months, and then they had their own ideas, so they ended up leaving. So another classified ad went out, and another group of people came on board. So since that time, there's been I know a lot of the people that have been in the band were either friends or long-time friends that we've known of, or or people that I've known through networking through the city, but mostly they've always been, Ottawa residents or whatever the case is. So we try not to go too far at the city because people don't want to come play here, or it's just
makes sense.
inconvenient to get together, right? So,
of course, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we're talking about that yesterday with the whole playing in Ottawa.
Yeah.
And getting people to come to Ottawa
exactly
is a big challenge.
Yeah. You get people from Martin Pryor, and they're like, "Oh, I want to join your band or want to play with you, but it's too far."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then why'd you call me? Why'd you send me the message?
Seriously, when they find out, it specifically says in the ad in Ottawa, right? So it's like,
Exactly.
wow.
Yeah.
And Ottawa's a small market band town. Like I said, we got a lot of talent here, but
Yes, we do.
When you're trying to form a band, you
Slim
look at
pickings.
every avenue, every way you can possibly solicit for band members. And I'm telling you, it's still slim pickings out there.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
A lot of times you go to clubs and you see bands, and you're like, you're having it's like an NFL draft in your head. Like, I'll take that guy. And I'll take
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to go poach some guys from other bands.
And it's,
Are you happy with your band?
yeah, it's like, and the thing is too, is a lot of people it's hard to find people you'll really get along with because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them.
Of course.
B, would you consider going on tour with these people? And C, are they good musicians? Do they know how to play their instruments well? So there's a lot of factors that I get very picky about, and the people that I'm with are very picky about.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, otherwise it doesn't make you look good if you're just filling in to fill in.
That's right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You need that commonality of okay, this is what this is what Seven Snakes is about. Are you on board?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'd rather be. No, then we'll see you later. Thanks very much.
Pretty much.
And the writing process really puts the proof in that pudding. When
Yeah.
you know pretty quickly when you start to write songs.
Of course. And you also need somebody that's committed too, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, we're not like, we're not out there to be rock stars and to, quit our day jobs, to do this as a full-time career. I mean, but you have to, there is a certain level of commitment. Like, we're going to do shows once a month or once every couple of months. We are planning on going studio. We are going to sell merch. So there is a level of commitment, but without saying, we're going to take on the world. Because at 51, I'm not going to do that, so it's like,
I'll just take on Ottawa.
yeah.
well,
We're good with that.
I mean, if bigger and better things were to come along, I'm sure
Absolutely.
that nobody's going to go, "Oh no, that's not for me." But
Yeah,
yeah,
you
we're
can
not
quit
like,
your job and be a musician full time, but like I'm not gonna. You're not gonna say no to that, right?
exactly.
We were in talks with a label about a couple of months back, I think it was. We were talking to a label from the U.S. and, collectively as a group, and we looked it over black and white up and down, and we just looked at it and said it's not for us, because they wanted us to, they want us to take care of, like, normally we would take care of everything ourselves anyways, but they're saying, well, you pay for recording, you pay for this, and this, and we're going to profit from your stuff.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, they had a lot of industry context. Yes, they could get us on big name tours if we wanted to, and so on and so forth, which was the plus side. But the downside was they were taking a percentage of our sales of music that they didn't even own.
That's
so
right,
it's
yeah.
like, no, it's not happening, so.
Yeah. Did you? And I guess if you sold it on your own, and your own merch and your own albums and such, like, you probably still make more money than even if you go.
We make full profit on whatever.
That's right.
So
yeah.
we handle all our own bookings. We handle all our recording time. I do all the graphic artwork for the band, and and so on and so forth. So everything we do stays in house. We don't give it away to somebody else.
Oh,
to
that's
do.
good.
So
It's I think that's the for smaller bands that you need that, right? You need that guy that can do the accounting, the art guy. For us, it's. Gus does all of our social media stuff because I'm a dinosaur and I don't catch on very quickly to that. But I understand that. Like, I was talking to you earlier, and it was like, Kevin, you need to have all these expertises to do this, and it's just daunting when you've got a full-time job and then you're doing this and you're doing it and you're trying to book a place and you're trying to, and it's like,
yeah. And I used to do that. I burnt myself out just before the last album because I was doing that. I worked full time from home, but then 7:30 to 4:30 or 7 o'clock to 4:30. I work all day long, and then I would hop on the computer and spend another 3 hours, booking shows or doing this and getting ideas or writing music or whatever. And it was just like night after night after night. And I was like, so when the album was released in 2020, I was like, I am done. Like I'm taking an extended break.
Yeah.
COVID's here. We can't do anything. So I'm going to go and take care of me now for a little while,
Smart.
So, because
Yeah.
it was getting to be too much.
well, you definitely need that.
Yeah.
You definitely need that.
That's like the silver lining of COVID, actually, at the beginning when you could take that 3 months and.
Well, it was a
Really
reason. It was an
eat-
excuse
eat
for a lot of
baked
bands
bread.
to break up too, because
Yeah,
there
of
was a lot
course,
of people.
yeah.
There was a lot of people that were like, I talked to a studio engineer, and he's like, "Kev," he goes, "I lost count of how many bands just said, screw it, bands are up," and it was an excuse for members that weren't happy with other members to find a way out, and say, "I'm done."
Without saying that.
Yeah, without saying it, right? And so,
Yeah.
but
That's right. Yeah.
But you're so correct.
yeah.
Long story short, I was in and left in 3 different entity bands during the period he's talking about.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. I can see that being really tough. Like, you don't equate it to like small businesses and stuff, but a lot went down because they couldn't sustain, right? And like you said, you're at home and you're like, okay, I've had enough of this. The album's done. I'm done for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
And
Do
the guy-
you?
I do. No, I'm
guys-
not a musician, but
Yeah.
I understand.
And the guys
No,
had a
fair
hard
enough.
time grasping that. I mean, Ross, our vocalist, who he's been with me since 2018. He took it kind of hard because he's like, we had worked so hard to get up that
Yeah.
roller coaster, and then all of a sudden now it's down. And he was, he didn't want things to end. And it didn't mean it was the end of the band. It just meant, we need to take an extended break because the guys we were with at that time, our bass player he wanted to keep going and keep jamming at his place. And I'm like, well, you're all the way in Kempville and you want to jam in a barn. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. And our jam spots had closed, so we couldn't, jam there. And we were having issues with the drummer at that time. So it's just like, okay, let's just step back a bit, refocus and retool, and then we'll worry about it when the time is right. But
Meanwhile, while this is all happening to him, and I'm going through my multiple band engagements, I'm also busily building a home recording studio / rehearsal room,
Nice.
fully kitted out, fully equipped.
Right.
You know, because him and I have known each other a long time.
Okay.
But we've kind of had
paths
overlapping
here and there.
Venn
Yeah.
diagrams of not really working together.
Right,
but
right.
almost working together.
Yeah.
So,
So how did this come about? The two of you hooking up together and
Last year. It was last year. Pandemic was kind of like coming to a slow end. You know, things were looking up. Venues were opening up now to the public again. Jam spaces were opening up. But he's like, "Well, I have a jam space," and then he said, "Well, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm thinking about getting the band back together, but I said I don't really have all the key players right now because things went south, you know. And he's like, "Well, let's do something together." So we got back at his place. We found a drummer who was actually pretty good, but he had family issues and commitments that he couldn't fully commit to, so it was on again. We went to like 2 or 3 drummers, I think, before we found Pat. And then Ross decided to come back because he really missed being part of the whole thing. And I couldn't really see moving forward without him just because of the vocals and everything and what he brings to the band. So he came back, and then we got he brought Dex with him, was our new lead guitarist as well. So, you know, we originally were always 4, but when I heard how Dex plays and what he brings to the band, I said, yeah, let's get him on board as
It's a
well.
good fit.
So, yeah, it's a good fit. So we all fit well together and write well together, and things are going well.
nice.
So far,
So you had like a Spinal Tap moment with your drummers there. They weren't combusting, but they were just disappearing on you.
yeah, exactly.
It is funny that you say that because that is the normal thing. Like,
Yeah.
get another drummer. you know?
Yeah. We talked to Matt.
Drummers are hard to find, or at least good ones are hard to find.
Of course,
you
I
know,
was
so-
just saying it's a funny thing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, what do you
exactly.
call a guy that plays with a bunch of musicians? You know,
Yeah.
Drummer.
to find a talented drummer that is
Yeah.
also passionate
Yeah.
and you can work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have all
That's,
3 of
see,
those.
that's,
For sure.
That's the trifecta, right? And it's got to
And
be the genre that you guys
Patrick
are
is
in.
exactly that.
Nice.
Like,
Nice.
he comes from a jazz background.
A jazz drummer.
The moment I heard that, I was like,
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Jackpot.
So did Charlie.
exactly.
So did Charlie Watts.
Yep.
Actually.
Yep.
Yeah,
a lot
like he
of
was-
very well,
Well, they're the best ones
Yeah.
apparently, right? So,
not according to you, but
well, no jazz drummers. I like metal drummers. Yeah, like but I get that one. Like I was always a metal guy. So,
but I mean, to have a, to acquire a jazz background drummer
Yes.
that is a metal guy.
yeah.
oh, that's-
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like-
It's like
This
winning
is
the
awesome.
lottery, essentially.
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, it's like we're with yesterday with Raphael. He's a cellist, but he's also into the heavier stuff too. It's like, how cool is that?
That's
so,
super cool.
Like
It's
to find,
Apocalyptica type of thing, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's
he's-
exactly who he's
Yeah.
touring with.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
he's with
Nice.
He's with Leprous.
yeah Leprous, but they're touring with Apocalypse.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
in the
that's his
States.
favorite band.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny that you good nice
Wow.
job, bro.
Yeah, very well done.
He's well read over there.
That's
Nice.
because of the wife.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She likes all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, and
Oh, fair enough.
yeah.
Nice.
So
So, where do the influences come from for the band? Like, what?
I think most of us are very well versed in a lot of different influences. I mean, and I think that's one of the things that cause us to not pick a cover because we like different. I mean, I've always been the hard rock and the stoner metal or the Caius and other bands, Queens of the Stone Age. Also, that's kind of where Sasquatch, all those bands that kind of influenced my writing. From like anything from Pantera to Zeppelin to whatever. Like, and Carl's pretty well versed in a lot of different genres that he likes as well too.
Both kind of have similar backgrounds
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tastes in music, but
Yeah.
I mean, from my perspective, I find that Kevin tends to write a lot. What I like, it's
Yeah.
kind of Southern fried.
The chugger,
Nice.
the chugging,
and
kind
him and I definitely have in common like groove. We want it to be groovy.
Yeah.
And I want from a bass perspective, I want it to be heavy. I want
Yes.
it to feel it.
Absolutely.
But I still want to maintain that rhythmic groove, that
Yeah.
driving kind of rhythm going on all the
Yeah.
time. So
I know the first 2
All
songs
together.
on the first album are, like I was listening to it on the way here. I only live 5 minutes away, so I couldn't get more. But I did listen to the CD. that you-
Derailed, or the,
Yeah.
or the CD I gave you.
Yes,
okay. Yeah.
it's awesome. It's in my CD player. The neighbors get to hear it. But it's.
I have to
I'm
go out
just-
to the garage to listen to it. So
Yeah,
that's okay.
Wife sends them outside. Go.
Yeah, all my CDs are in the garage actually.
Man cave.
Vinyl's inside, but
Yeah.
CDs outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were to say I have a favorite bassist, like Carl, who was your favorite?
I mean, I'm an aficionado of many different genres of music, so I mean, I'd probably like pick a bassist in many genres.
You can.
You know, like, of course, there's like there's a couple
Les
of,
Claypool.
Yeah, like Les Claypool's amazing.
that's a good
of course,
one,
you got,
yeah.
Cliff Burton, amazing. You got, the jazz guys. There's like there's two or three of them, like Jaco Pastorius. I mean, like, the list goes on and on.
That's cool.
Influential, like some of the old jazz stand-up
Paul
bass
Jones.
guys are amazing.
John Paul. Well,
yeah,
he's
He's okay.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, exactly. You get your guys,
Multi-instrumentalist.
all your legendary bands all have like Geezer Butler. I mean, right?
Yes,
right there.
Geezer.
Who sang the Big Brown Beaver?
Yeah, it was Les Claypool.
Yeah,
Primus.
Primus.
Yeah,
Like
Primus.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The slap bass style.
Yeah,
yeah.
Slap of the bass.
Okay. Yeah, you had to do it. Eh?
I did.
Yeah.
I can't really pick one. That's for sure.
Oh,
No,
fair
that's
enough. Okay.
We find that a lot with when we ask that question, like about or drummers or bassists or whatever. It's never one, and it's always different. Like, well, this guy influenced me, and this guy I learned a lot from. This guy with Matt, it was like guys that he learned from and
You know,
stuff.
if I really had to nail it down for the style that I play, especially like we play kind of hard rock metal, like right on that line. And this is going to sound odd, but I have to say the guy from Overkill.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because I was a guitar player for 20 years, and I only switched to the bass like 5-6 years ago, and that was kind of one of the reasons I kept in my mind. I just kept flashing back to that video for the song Horoscope.
Yeah.
And he's playing this like really pointy. I think
It's a huge guitar.
It's a giant V.
Yeah.
Giant flying V bass, and it's awesome. And the intro just fades in, and it's super heavy on the bass, and then the band comes in, and it's just like dun 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 dun, and just it
And you're like-
captures my imagination for playing the bass all the time. Like it's like that's what metal bass should be.
That's right. Yeah.
And now I'm a bass player.
And that's-
Well, it's
when I
it's
started
true.
playing the bass, that was kind of like I'm going to model myself off of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, we actually saw Rammstein in last week, and the bassist was Rammstein's like off the charts. He's like, but you know what I mean? Like he sort of starts really heavy and brings everybody into the fold, right?
Nice.
I love it. I love it. Like,
I saw a lot of videos of the show. It looked like it was very intense.
bro,
Show to-
it was insane. Like I've never seen a stage. I've said it all week. I've been saying this. The stage was 100 feet high.
Yeah. Well, they were outside, right? So they
Yes.
had room to do.
They have to be. They
It was
have to be.
insane.
It's called a stadium. It is a stadium tour, right? So, but like I was talking to many people about it, and they're like, "What was it like?" And I was like, "Dude, it was." We were standing hundreds of feet away from the stage and felt the fire.
Yeah, right. Because there was torches around.
That's right. Yeah,
too,
but you
right?
could actually like heat, like
Yeah.
act like.
I heard the
Even
pyro.
Dog was saying that.
I heard the
It just-
pyro's nuts.
It's nuts.
It scared me the first time it went off. It's like, I was like, what the? And that was like, it was at least like 300, 400 yards, 500 yards away. And it was like,
Well, it wasn't that far.
Yeah.
500 yards.
I don't know, 2 feet?
That's 5 football stadiums. We were 500 yards from the stage.
Okay. So
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, there was. There was a
But
couple.
yeah, no, it was a very cool show. Yeah, but they're known for that apparently, like the pyro stuff. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like an epic event.
I just can't stand the music. I can't wrap my head around it. It's not my thing. Like it's
Yeah.
very electronic. You know, almost. It's kind of Nine Inch Nail-ish, but German.
Yep.
You know, I like Nine Inch Nails.
That's why
but
I kind of
don't-
like it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
See,
Stuff
I like it
that
too.
stuff.
But I'm not a fan of it.
I'm not a huge fan of Rammstein, but yeah, there's tunes I like for sure.
So that was-
Well, it was just sort of one of those things where we were, you know, it was something that we wanted to see,
Yeah.
and we've heard so much about it, and we might as well just go, right? Like, why
The
not?
experience, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
and but yeah, no, some of the songs can get you going, and then
yeah.
I some of the people I talked to like they have more than one song because like, I was like, well, yeah, they've been together for 28 years, man. Like, you know,
Till Lindemann, the singer.
yeah.
He has a solo project that he released, I think, this year.
Oh, really? I'll
And,
check it out.
There's a single that they've been, well, I wouldn't say it's in rotation, but it's on the Metal Hot list on YouTube Music.
Okay.
And it's good.
Good?
Is it? Yeah.
It is.
Is it
I like
different?
him actually. So
It could easily be just a Rammstein song.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's,
the thing.
It's good. It's still good.
he's still speaking German, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Just
No, I
kidding.
think for the solo project, I'm going to go with Italian.
Yeah.
No, but it's hard when you have your lead singer and he goes off and does a project on his own, and you go, well, it still sounds like Rammstein.
Yeah.
You know, Mick Jagger does something. It kind of sounds like the Stones.
Well, it's the voice, right? That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Well, that's the thing, right?
right.
So when they do something,
That's why Keith Richards' solo stuff was kind of good because you didn't really.
well, you don't hear him sing much.
That's right. That's right.
And anyway, I'm not going to say anything about that. And now a word from our sponsor.
We are currently recording Dog and Gus in the podcast booth at Staples Studio, Ottawa, on 403 Bank Street, where they have everything to help your business work, learn, and grow. They are currently offering a clean and safe place to work with desks, offices, and drop-in memberships. More than a co-working space, Studio is a community to help you work, learn, and grow. For more information on pricing, please visit studio.stables.ca or contact the community manager at studio.ottawa@staples.ca. Hey, Doug, want some hot sauce for your tacos?
You brought your own hot sauce?
Damn right. Have you tried Gringo's Sizzling Nirvana? It'll change your life.
Nice. Are there other types of sauces?
Absolutely. There's different hot sauces for different palates, incredible barbecue sauces, red pepper jam, and salsa. All of them use fresh ingredients, and it can be delivered to your door.
Hey, how do we get some?
Go to www.gringosblazingsauces.com and order some.
Gringo's Blazing Sauces.
Bring the fire to your food.
All right, so we were talking about genres of music, and you guys discussed you don't really care for Rammstein. If we went through your record collections, what would surprise us? You guys are being a heavy metal rock band. If we walked in and we're going to find some, I don't know, Gordon Lightfoot or
The sheer amount of Motown music I got in my record collection, 80s and 90s R&B.
Nice.
You're going to find classic stuff. You're going to find some stuff like old 70s like soul bands like the Whispers and Boney M. And
Boney M's awesome. I love Boney M.
But you're also going to find like Al Di Meola and Alan Parsons and
nice mixture.
Mike Oldfield. You're going to find
Tubular Bells. Nice.
Yeah. You're going to find the Romantics. You're going to find a lot of stuff because basically, in a nutshell, my father, when I was a teenager, when I was growing up, every month or so he'd just go to the record store and he'd buy 6, 7, 8, 10 albums. And they would be from across the spectrum.
Nice.
And I would just eat that up. I would just listen to whatever. It didn't matter what he brought home. I just listened to everything, every track, both sides.
Yeah, I used to do that too. I used to go to Discus. I used to the big one down on off of Maitland Avenue there, the big CD store. It used to be CD Warehouse, but before that it was a record store. Same thing. All right, I got my purchases for this week, and then
Plus, I kind of lived like a secret double life when I got to the high school.
Of course, we all did.
Yeah, because I got my friends in high school who are all rock and metal, but I have 4 cousins, and all 4 of them are DJs. And they successively worked in Hull and all those clubs, and so I got exposed. They're all making mixtapes.
112.
Putting 6x9s in the back of their E8 cars, And so I'm getting the club music all the time. One of the oldest ones going down to New York to buy the white label pressings from some secret record store down there. So, I'm getting into that culture, and at the same time, I'm hanging out with the metalhead friends, and
hopefully they don't find out.
Yeah, it's the two kind of keep them separate.
Yeah, you're get in the car, and all of a sudden you're like,
sorry guys, wrong tape.
Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy's on there. Get out of here! Sorry, somebody borrowed my car.
Yes.
Put that in there. Up the window it goes.
Yeah. And you, Kevin?
I grew up in a household where music was pretty, played a lot. My dad was a musician as well, and he toured. I say he played clubs in Montreal because that's where I'm from. He grew up playing rock and roll's 50s covers and stuff.
Nice.
And so my collection, I've got everything from Beatles to it goes straight to hip hop. Like not the new stuff. Like I like LL Cool J, Run DMC, Grandmaster Flash, all those And then it goes right to the heavy end of the spectrum where I have probably the whole discography of Venom records and like just black metal, like stuff like that. So,
crazy, man.
Yeah,
that's pretty vast.
Yeah.
I like that though.
I had to hide those from my mom because my mom would see the At War with Satan albums, and she's like,
what?
My uncle's a priest on top of that, right? So he's like, don't ever let your uncle see that. I'm like,
well, all the demonic pictures and stuff.
Oh yeah,
right? Like
the metal, all the
marketing,
metal,
right?
Because you're
even Marilyn
Satan.
Manson stuff.
I'd love to see him.
Yeah, he
saw him when he was at Heavy MTL a couple years back.
Oh yeah,
with Rob. He was touring with Rob Zombie.
Yeah,
and he didn't put on a good show at all.
No?
I think he wasn't. Well, they said the day after in the press that he wasn't feeling well. He was under the weather and this and that. And I'm like, okay, but it looked more like he was just really wasted.
Yeah,
So
I think there's some infighting going on between those two.
yeah,
as
they
well.
were. There was too apparently. Yeah. So
nice.
but I got to see Limp Bizkit because they came and they replaced Trivium that year. So I was happy.
Yeah,
happy. I'm a big fan, huge fan of Limp Bizkit. So
Yeah, you know what's funny? I have both their albums, like
Yeah.
whatever, Chocolate Hot Dogs or Hot
Yep.
Dogs Covered in Chocolate Water or something, whatever the second
Starfish,
album. Yeah, Starfish. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course the original one Nikki was on.
Yeah.
I like them too. The guitarist is probably the most fun to
Wes,
watch.
yeah.
Wes Borland,
He's-
he's
Yeah.
highly underrated.
He's
I agree.
highly
I agree,
He's
like-
a master at what he does, and
Yeah.
like without
Monkey
him,
Man.
that band is just it's. I mean,
He's the biggest part, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I mean Fred Durst, obviously, when I saw them for the first time, I saw them, and after all these years, he still commands an audience like nobody I've ever seen. Like he can make you do whatever he tells you to do, jump or sit down or smack the guy next to you. Like it's just like he's got that power over the audience even after all these years.
Yeah.
So
Limp
it's-
Bizkit gets a bad rap from a lot of metal
Yeah.
people too.
Yeah.
Because all these metal purists, they're like, that's not metal. That's not metal. Like, but that's one thing I will say about Seven Snakes for sure. The entire band, we are not metal purists.
No.
That's why.
Oh, it's fine.
Well, there's a lot of influences, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's good
It
to be
helps.
that way.
It helps,
It does.
He's listening. Well, it's because Carl's listening to Montel Jordan on the way.
Could be.
Get it on
What if we smooth this riff out of? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
a
awesome.
good jam,
man.
though.
Yeah, it is a great jam, dude. I have that. I still have that CD too. It's funny. I kept all my CDs, but it's very all over the joint. So I love that.
And nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Oh, if you were to put on like my YouTube music just on random, you'd be surprised. Like just waiting in anticipation. What's the next
Okay, what's he
song
got
gonna be?
next?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love it.
It's
What's your favorite venue? You can you can do it together, or you can have a separate one.
And we're
Could be in
Brass
Ottawa.
I
Monkey,
think Brass is for us is our home. We've played there. Scotty and the whole staff has always been amazing to us. And I'm not saying that the other venues have not. I mean, if I had the close second, would be the Rainbow.
nice.
Rainbow.
Yeah, I really like. the
Now they
Rainbow,
have
too.
they've completely renovated the inside. I haven't been there yet. I've got to go and catch a show there, but the stage has been all renovated. And Stacy, the booking agent, I think she's part owner. I'm not sure. I think it's Stacy. Anyways, she's been really good to us too as well when we wanted to book a show. Most venues are pretty good to us when we want to book a show there. But I mean, hands down, the place to see rock and to go is the Brass Monkey. It's always been our go-to.
I mean, there's other venues in the city that
Yeah.
we
Yep.
like, but
Yeah,
it's also a matter of the frequency with
Yep.
which all of us have played at various venues are going to give you kind of a lean towards
Yeah,
certain
and,
venues.
and when you get in good with the owner and
Yeah.
that, because the owner knows you can pack the house or you can bring people
That was
in,
the other thing because
both
both of us know
Yeah.
Scotty from.
we've known
yeah,
Scotty for
a long
years and
time.
he's great to work with and
Yeah.
and he will not book a band that a lot of time, like he takes chances on bands, which I appreciate, but if you're gonna say, well, we're gonna bring in 80 people, you better bring in at least not 80 but close to it, because he relies on the bands to make money to sell alcohol.
Yeah,
of course.
He gives us the door every single time. He doesn't
Nice.
take a cut from that. He doesn't,
Wow,
so
that's nice.
Yeah, so he relies on the bands to bring people in, so they buy alcohol, right?
yeah. It's a good give and take, right?
Exactly.
It's funny that you say that because it's like your comfortability at that place is probably why. Because we've asked other people, like you ask, Matt Saab from Monkey Junk, and
Yep.
he was like Irene's, like right away, because that's where they started and that's where they met. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That you know Scotty, so that makes
Yeah.
And that's a great venue. I used to live
Oh, yeah.
right around the corner. In fact, I was living so close to Irene's that it was too close to my house. And back in those days, I would walk home to Irene's, and the test was if you can't open your front door, you have to walk around the block again until you can. That's when the bar is too close to your house.
That's right. Yeah. That's an excellent strategy.
Can't operate the front door lock.
yeah. Then
Take a lap.
Yeah, take a lap. Take a lap. Come back.
Now, I'm looking at my list of questions. If you could go back in time and change something about the past, what would it be? Or would you? Is the first one.
About us or about
Uh,
just in
yeah,
general?
about yourselves. It doesn't matter.
Probably with the band, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
or maybe a decision you
I
made.
think
That
I probably would have worked harder at music. Not to say that I'm not going to say that I'm an excellent player, because I'm not. I'm far from it. I stay within my comfort zone of playing. I've been playing since the age of 13, but I think I had aspirations back then to be a rock star. And mom being the mom she was and still is, and she's like, well, you better have a backup plan because, you just never know. But, do what you feel is best, and I started playing in bands early. When I turned 16, I was playing in bands and hopping around from different bands because it didn't fit or just personal, conflicts with other people. But so I got tired of that. And I started getting money hungry because I wanted to have my own money. So I worked and worked and worked, and the music career aspirations kind of went out the window. And I figured, well, at some point again, I'll try it again and see. But maybe that's the only thing. But it's not a deal breaker. No.
No, but I mean, he's still playing music, so
yeah, and it's more for fun now than to be to be a millionaire.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, being a rock star is hard to do.
Yeah,
apparently, by Nickelback said,
Yeah, exactly. Carl?
Kevin kind of was going towards something. I thought he was going to go in a slightly different bent there, but I think he kind of echoes exactly what I was going to say. But it's that basically, I think one thing he was going to say that he didn't say, he would have preferred to have spent more time earlier in his music career, spending time working harder and practicing more and maybe laying some more effort in.
And I did too. I spent a lot of time in my room playing, but then girls came around, money came around, the things that distract you.
Yeah. But that's kind of the same thing I was going to say. Like it's kind of the same thing. I was, involved and I wanted to do these things when I was young, but I didn't really, you get pulled this direction, get pulled that direction. You go and start in bands and playing music you don't want to play and playing these covers, and I hated that. And, so it just kind of fell away. And the same thing, you want money and you want to go out and join the friends doing what they're doing, and so you need money for that. So you just work and work and work, and then when I when I turned 40, I'm like, the switch went off, and I just decided to go back, and I spent a couple of years literally just going back and working on that stuff that I never practiced before. I was working on scales. I was practicing strength exercises. I'm like doing, first it was just the guitar, and then I started picking up the bass, and then we're going back to the basics kind of thing and working hard. And now, everybody. So would I change anything? No, only just I would work harder earlier, because the decisions that everybody made over the last 20 years have led everybody to where we are now.
Yep. And you're
very little regrets as to where I guess we all are. We've all had our ups and downs in life, and I think you learn from that and what works and what doesn't work, and But I'm happy where I am musically right now. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better crew that I'm with. These guys they're all amazing, and they're all great musicians. And the one thing I do like about this version of the band is now everybody's promoting it, not just me. Because when I was, for the most part, for the last couple of formations of the band, the guys I were with, they were there to play, but that was the extent of it. They wouldn't go on social media and promote. They wouldn't do anything else. But everybody in this band helps out, which is a big relief. It's a little less for me to worry about now. So
there's more even levels of involvement and engagement,
and that's what you want, right? That's absolutely what you want.
It's a rare thing to find, because people will want to be a rock star, but they don't want to put the effort in to be that rock star, right? So they'll just come to jam, go home, and
that's right. Yeah,
Kevin earlier gave you kind of a synopsis of the band swapping ins and outs. So there's a lot more that he didn't say. So
a lot of
it wasn't just like this particular crew just fell together miraculously.
No, it was
it was trial by fire, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys were an overnight sensation. It only took 15 years.
That's the thing. People never see the actual challenge, right? Yeah. They see the finished product.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like I was having a conversation with my wife the other day, and I was saying, it's funny. I said, people come to see a show, like we'll say Rammstein or whoever, or us, or but they don't realize the whole what it takes to get to that point.
Yeah.
You spent time writing music with your buddies. Then you have to go to the show and be there like 3 hours before you go on. You have to set up, sound check, this, that, make sure your merch table's set up. Because all the people do when they walk in is they go, oh, it's done. Let's sit down and listen to music, right? And so it takes a lot. It's a lot of effort, not just writing music and putting on shows. There's so much behind the scenes.
Of course, yeah.
There's a lot of people that understand that, but most that just come to listen to you.
No, they don't.
They don't.
I think you just show up and you just put the music together right there and sing and play right there.
Mm.
Yeah, I get it. It's, some people just don't see the finished product, or just see the finished product, not the the effort that goes
Exactly.
into, you know.
Exactly.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So ask another. I had a question and I just lost it.
Come on, man.
Sorry, I dropped the ball, brother. It'll
So
come back to me.
so why have to like
Yes,
pick the
pick up
ball?
the- pick up
Oh,
the
man.
slack, bro.
There
It's
we
called
go.
Sometimers.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like this guy.
Stop it.
So if you were to pick, say you could step in with any band and play in a spot where someone that you consider a hero, say it's a bassist or a guitarist or whatever. Who would you consider? I know it's I know I just made this one up. Sorry, guys. I just had
Made
to
it up on the
because
fly.
dog kind of threw me under the bus. So.
Sorry, guys.
But I thought I did pretty well.
You mean in terms of like, say, there's like
Say you could
there's
step
a
in and
tour
play
going-
with anybody.
So there's
right?
a tour going on, and one of their bands drops out, and it's like some.
Yeah.
So what
well,
would
we
you-
need a bassist come in and
Oh, like-
play.
Oh, you like,
you can
okay.
play any music, like their music. Sorry, I don't know, man. Just go with it.
See, I
Help
see
him
so,
out.
I see so many. I love watching the videos where like Foo Fighters or.
I saw one recently with a little kid.
Even there's
Yeah,
there's
so
like so
great.
many of them. Even Steel Panther, like you
Yeah.
know, where the guy's got a sign in the audience. Says, "I want to play guitar." So that I mean, I think that would be fun. Like just if you knew their music well enough that you
Yeah.
could be confident enough to do that. I think I would be.
Yeah, because
with a
that'd
sign in the
be
audience
that'd be
saying,
right
"Dave, come get me."
terrifying.
Yeah, of course. With a little kid in Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
like Dave Grohl pulls him up, but he's like, I know a lot of Metallica.
Yeah,
And then he just gets right into
Enter Sandman.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, and then if Dave Grohl starts singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty
Well,
cool.
I think they probably know a little bit of Metallica themselves.
you think?
They might, yeah, I would think.
Now, we talked about covers. This is the question
Yep.
that went out my
Sure.
left ear. You guys, when Seven Snakes first started, was there a lot more covers than originals?
We've never played one.
Nice.
Never since day one. We've never played a cover. Even it was funny because even when I started the band, you know, you get that response from an ad saying, "Well, what covers do you want me to learn so we can come and try out?" I'm like, "None. This is what I want you to learn." So I had some really crappy jam recordings that I sent over to and I said, "Learn this." And they're like, oh okay. what tuning is it? No, this is it. Learn that the best you can.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for perfection, and then come see us when you're ready. And so that's how it's always been done. We've always done it that way. We don't do covers. It's not that we don't want to do covers. We just can never agree on one. There's so much music out there, and if I was to do cover, it would have to be done our way. I would not do it like the original. Like take Hell Yeah for instance. They did a cover of Phil Collins' "I Don't Care Anymore."
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like completely, it's that song, but it's done their way,
Yeah.
with their sound and the heaviness that they do. And it's like,
I love that.
It's so,
It's like Disturbed when
Yeah.
they do the
Disturbed do a lot of
Yeah,
covers do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, if we were to pick a cover, like we were talking, Carl and I were talking like April Wine. I'm a big fan of April Wine.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so
Me as
we were
well.
saying like "Ooh, What a Night" or "Roller" or those one of the big hits.
In your
right?
version.
But doing a
Oh,
heavy
so
version, like
sick.
heavy it up. So
Yeah.
who knows? It might show up on the next album. We don't know.
Meanwhile, I want to do "Weeping Widow."
Yes.
That's another one. That's another one. Yes, that I really really like.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Tony.
I can see
Tone.
Ross singing that actually.
I say,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's because you would love to hear Roller in a
I would love to hear another interpretation of it because I'm like you, Kevin. I love April Wine.
Yeah.
And to hear it like
Here
in
we
a heavier,
go. Here we go.
or do 21st century schizoid.
Well, that'd
Yes.
be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the King Crimson version is
kidding.
amazing, but the April Wine version is
But
better.
that's why I would stay away from a song like that because King Crimson's done it, Ozzy's done it.
Yeah.
A lot of bands have done it.
Yeah,
so.
well, so that's the thing, right? It's hard to pull out a cover that you want to do that people are going to recognize.
I want
You know what I
to.
mean?
I want to do something that nobody's or very little few people have had. Like I love Tragically Hip too. I'm a big Hip fan, and I always one of our local good friends, a band here, Winter in Ottawa. They did a cover of New Orleans. Is it New Orleans? No.
Yep.
Yeah, New Orleans is thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
No.
not the song they covered.
Little Bones.
No, it's the lyrics are "I shot a movie once in this hometown."
New
Anyways,
Orleans is sinking.
Yeah. New
yeah,
Orleans.
so they did that cover, and they actually blew it out of the water. It was completely not like the original.
Hard to do. Hard to cover tragically. Hip, I
My
think. Yeah.
tune, if I was to cover a hip song, would be Grace 2.
Oh, that's such like,
You know.
bro. That's my favorite album.
'Cause
Dave
he
Day
would
for
kill
Night
that
is
on
my.
bass.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I could
yeah.
just see him because I've seen a band do it on.
Well, Gord St. Clair's a good bassist,
Yeah.
by the way. Like another. Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
We could go off. You could go off on April Wine. I'll go off on the hip. You know.
But Grace 2 is a really cool song, and
Great song.
it has a slow build, right? So
Of course, yeah.
I mean,
Day for Night. That's a great album. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably my favorite, but their best album collectively is probably Fully Completely.
Yeah.
But
I like Road Apples because it was
Road
really
Apple's
raw.
good too,
It was
yeah.
really raw when
Yeah.
it first came out. Like that was their first album, and it was like,
have you heard the new live album?
no,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
When you get it.
Well, it's out already.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just waiting for it to show up.
Where are they
Compact
live
disc.
at the? But we're in California. Live at.
in California.
Yeah,
Not the
yeah.
LA Bowl.
No.
Yeah, so that's the next album, Kevin. We've just decided for you. It'll be
Okay,
it'll be
perfect.
covers. We got the hip and we got
Hey,
April Wine.
he made my
Go
job
from there,
easy. I don't
Carl.
have
pick a couple of songs you want to cover, and this is gonna be done.
I don't think I could do a whole album of covers, but
I'm just teasing.
It would be cool to have one on the next album. I think if we could all collectively decide what we want to do.
See,
You know,
And I'm of the
just
same opinion of Kevin. I mean, if we're going to do a cover, we got to make it our own.
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Because I think in general, in the music world, there's only two ways to do covers. Either you do the cover and you do
it
not
justice.
change one thing about it,
Yeah.
or you do it and you totally make it your own.
because it's a risk. It's a risk you're going to take going. You know, we did one of the other bands I was in. I was playing "Needle and the Damage Done" by
Young.
Neil Young,
Mm-hmm.
and we did it a heavy version. We did it, you know, and it actually kind of worked out really well. But it got old really quick. You know, people were like, "Oh yeah," I think, so we stopped playing it after about 2-3 shows, and that was that. But it's because it's very repetitive, you know. And
Yeah.
so, but
Live
you
at, it's at the Roxy. Live at the Roxy.
Roxy, okay.
It's raw. It's right after Road Apples.
cool.
Yeah, I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I think so. Well, if he is a hip fan, I'm sure he was.
I like it. So yeah.
Yeah, but you're an uber hip fan. So.
Yeah, it's yeah. But I like even like so I like '90s hip hop, and you know you said the '80s hip hop, and I like them too. But
Yeah.
I was a big '90s hip hop guy because that was just my age.
Yeah, and that's
And-
There's some of that that's pretty good too. Kid and Play and
Tupac's okay.
Tupac's good. Yeah.
He's quite good. He's like a poet, man. You
Yeah.
should do a cover of one of his songs.
Oddly
hard
enough,
to do.
there's a lot of metal songs that I've seen them do.
Really?
Hip hops. Yeah, if you dig deep enough on the web, you'll
Find it?
find stuff that not necessarily his songs, but metal bands that have done. I hate there's metal bands that have done covers of Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again.
Yes, I've seen some of
you know,
those.
It's like you can pretty much turn anything to metal if you really work at it. Like look
true.
at that guy's channel, Leo, there, who does all the covers. He does nothing but covers. Like he turns just about any song.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Broadleaf Studios, I think.
bunch
it
of
is.
those young
Yeah,
like
yeah.
power metal punk guys
Yeah.
that are what, like all greasy and black skinny jeans. They did a cover of Savage Swing.
Really?
Yeah, Miss May I. That's the name of the band.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know them.
Crazy.
Again, writing stuff down.
Is there an artist that's alive or dead that you'd love to work with?
For me, it'd be Dime for sure.
Dimebag.
Yeah, he's one of the bigger influences aside from Jimmy Page that has inspired me to play the way I play. I'm not like I don't play like him, but I take away a lot of his initiative and his riffs and the way he puts things together as how he wrote. He wasn't a very technical player, but the way he played made it sound that way, you know?
Yeah.
So it was, and I think that if I had ever had I got to see Pantera on the Far Beyond Driven tour in Montreal.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was 2 rows back from the stage. And so when the show finished, he ran by and he just slaps everybody's hands, right? So I'm like, oh, and I was like, I'm never going to wash this hand again.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Pass the magic on, you know?
Yeah,
Seriously.
But yeah, it was, and it was such a big loss when he got shot, and it's like the whole world lost an idol, But
Yep.
Crazy, eh? Like,
And Carl.
Well, I mean, Dime for sure. But I mean, if I had to pick somebody that I pick someone alive that I could spend a bunch of time and pick their brain would be Dave Ellefson.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good
Because
choice.
Ellefson, to me, there's a lot of bass players that I really admire, but there's not a lot of bass players that are pick players like myself that I think are really, really impressive. And I think Ellefson is like one of the best pick players I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Good choices.
I love the choices. That's always neat to find out, like where it's coming from, right? Like with Pantera, I don't know if you guys know, but they were huge hockey fans. Those two, the brothers, with the Dallas Stars, because I'm a Dallas Stars fan.
Yep.
They wrote the song when they score a goal in Dallas. That song is written by Pantera.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's called Puck. Yeah, well, but yeah, they wrote it. It was funny. There's a whole good story about it when they were playing in the playoffs there, but I won't go through that today. But yeah, so that Pantera, I mean, sadly, him and then his brother.
Yeah. Well, his brother passed away from a heart attack. And
Yep.
Now Jose Mangin has their limo. He
Oh, really?
Yeah, he bought their limo like last year or the year before. I think it's fully restored now. They're driving around in it.
So cool.
I said you had to go. I was thinking about you should go be going through that with a black light first because
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to do that.
well, the brothers own
yeah.
the strip club, right? So
Oh, well, yeah.
I don't think I like the idea that it's impending reunion tour.
Yeah. Well,
you know, and there's a lot of people that are like, no, that's not. You can't do it without the brothers, and I agree to an extent, but it's not. And the wrong thing is that they're actually calling it Pantera.
That's my issue with
and
it.
I'm not up on that because it should be a tribute to the lives of the two brothers.
Yeah, agreed.
And the guys that are playing it are calling it saying it's a tribute to Diamond Vinny, you know. But the
That's a
media
good
is
band
saying-
name, Diamond Vinny.
Yeah, well, they're saying, oh, well, it's Pantera, and like, no, just because Rex and Phil are there doesn't mean it's a full
yeah.
band. You know?
Well, it's like say go back to the Tragically Hip. They'll never be the Tragically Hip.
No.
That's it. That's
No.
like you can't have it without Gord,
No,
right? Like
exactly.
so. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to. Like you could people that know Pantera and say you did a tribute, they would still go.
Well, if they ever come this way, obviously I'm going to go.
Oh, obviously,
yeah.
But you know, like Phil and the Illegals have been playing Pantera music for the last 5 years now. That's pretty much all they do.
Yeah.
You know, so Phil is. He's
So
got
it's
his
hard to
own-
have any respect for Phil Anselmo. You know? Like
yeah, I
Rex,
guess.
yeah, I can respect the hell out of that guy, but Phil,
Yeah.
no. I've seen him I've seen footage of him doing questionable and saying questionable things like,
Yeah. I mean, it's rock star life, right?
Yeah.
You act stupid and you get publicized the next day for it. So
Yeah.
whatever. It
you're
is what it
giving
is.
swastika salutes on stage.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
that's-
that's
That-
a little
that
too
was
far.
a bit too far. But I mean, you know, and then he was like, well, it was the wine talking. I'm like, well, I think it's what it is.
Well,
6
you know,
months.
That's a bit. Yeah, you're not getting away with that one.
6
ever.
months
No,
later,
sorry, you
nobody will
can't
remember.
rationalize that.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Sorry,
the
you
wine
can't.
talking
You can't.
that I had a swastika.
Yeah,
on it.
seriously, come on, man.
I don't care how much wine you had, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that's,
Well, it is true though, like you say, like a lot of Canadian bands there. We were talking Gus's brother-in-law. He's talking with the El Macombo and all these bands coming into the El Macombo, like Streetheart and Prism,
Yep.
all these bands that
Nice.
we all grew up
Yeah.
with, right? But it's not the incarnation that you want to see because Kenny Shields is no longer with us. This person's no longer with us. So now, where do you draw the line? Even with April Wine, because it's not the same lineup, right?
Yeah,
so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're going to play the songs, and yeah, it's
But they
gonna
should be billing it as, the original members of Steelheart, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
playing the original music of Steelheart.
Yeah.
They shouldn't call it Steelheart.
Yeah, agreed.
What?
Yeah, and when you
well,
get
it's like Venom with
You
Venom
guys are
Inc.
purists.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Well,
only one or two members from the
truth in
original, one member from
advertising.
the original band,
Yeah.
and then they've got new guys
Yeah.
beside it. But
well, that's the thing, right? And
Makes
it's
sense. I like it.
yeah, it's when you're like you like music like we do. I would love to have seen the original lineups of those bands.
well, what the thing with the big trend is, and I think or was, but it may still be, is like we'll go back probably 5-6 years when Quiet Riot came to the Brass Monkey. The only original member left of Quiet Riot was the drummer.
Right.
Right, and the reason why is he bought the name. Like now, that's a lot of people are doing. The original members are buying the name to secure that, name when you go on tour.
Yeah.
But it's no longer any of the original members anymore. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do I really want to pay money to see just the one guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, it's the only way to keep that music alive
Yep.
in a live setting.
And
So-
sadly, sometimes that,
So yeah, both obviously we have mixed feelings about these types of adventures,
And-
but I mean,
and fair
you
enough.
also
right?
can get a whole new generation of fans involved. Look at
You
what's
can.
happening
You
with
can.
Metallica and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I have heard Master of Puppets more times on the radio
Right.
in the last couple of months than I ever have heard that song in my life.
Yeah.
And I bought that album when it came out. I've heard it on the radio and just I'm amazed when I turn the radio on and it's blasting. I'm like,
Yep.
what the hell is going
Our
on?
oldest daughter, who she's 13, she turned 13, and she she's a big fan of the show. We're all big fans of the show in the house, and we've watched every episode up until the last season, and then we saw Eddie play the guitar in front of the raging storm.
I was stoked.
And it was awesome. It was great. And now she's got it on her playlist, and that led her to listening to other stuff. And I said, well, there's more to one song, honey. And she's like, I know, but I really like this song. So she keeps playing that song, and then she's gone on to listening to
Pretty
other
good
things.
song.
It is a good
Pretty
song.
Yeah.
But
I love that song. I get it, though.
Yeah.
You ever see Old School? There's a really good scene when they're picking up all of the recruits, and, they're driving that crazy van, and Master of the Puppets is the actual song that's playing while they're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You're my boy, Blue.
Yeah. Well, they just like jam, like they slam into this like shopping cart and send it flying, and that's like, Master.
Now, we don't always, but we always ask, I just said it again. What are your thoughts on Spotify and other streaming? See, now this is the faces I get.
Well,
It's
I
tough.
mean,
It's a travesty. It's a ripoff. It's disrespectful to the artists. I could go on and on.
Yeah. And why not?
Like, at least back in the day when everybody was downloading stuff on Napster, you could still go and buy vinyl and tapes and CDs, and people would still go and pay for that stuff because, when you were downloading music, a lot of times the fidelity, the quality wasn't there. But now, I mean, because of streaming services, people today don't have a clue of what high fidelity sound sounds like. Everybody listens to everything on Bluetooth optimized speakers, where if you, for instance, if you buy any car nowadays and you try to stream music from your phone into your car stereo, it sounds like junk. And that's the reason why, because MP3s and Bluetooth streaming, it inherently has crappy sound quality, and people don't understand this because the equipment they're listening through is optimized for those crappy sound streams. So the bass has been tweaked, so it sounds kind of good to these people, but they don't even realize you've gone back to like the 50s. You're listening to mono sound.
analog. I mean,
He's right. He's right.
Yeah.
It's not wrong, that's for sure.
I mean, being an artist that we have our music on Spotify, Apple to iTunes and all that, I mean, it's not, you're not making money on that. You're just getting your music out to people that may have never heard you before and say, and the worst part is we have to, once our album is complete, we upload it to the web, we have to pay a streaming or a service to upload to, say, 25 different platforms, everything from Spotify to Pandora to whatever, and then, and what they do is they watch what's getting played where, and then they'll send you pennies. I think.
Well, that's the insulting part, right?
I just got if I look at my SoCan account, just for fun.
But you look at the money that those entities are making.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's stockholders that are making money, right? But Trevor Alguire was on the show, and he's a local artist. I don't know if you know him, but he told us a story of a guy that just handed him $20 and said, "I'm going to get it on Spotify, but I wanted to make sure you get $20."
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, "Okay, well, I have the album for sale over here, on vinyl." And I got into, like, obviously Dog has been into vinyl for a long time, but I got into vinyl, and then I was like listening to it there, and it just sounds so much better.
Richer, fuller.
And CDs too, because I do have a Pioneer system that I've had for 22 years. It was like the one that slides down and you can put the CD in. And slides back.
Nice.
It's pretty cool when you're on mushrooms.
So if you look at what you get from SoCan, is obviously we all know what SoCan is and how they monitor royalties and stuff. So for August, $1.23 is what the band made in 5 months of playing.
Quarter each.
Unbelievable.
Don't spend it all in one place, guys. That's ridiculous.
See, that's awful.
That's terrible.
Because you probably had over 1,000 downloads. Maybe
Well,
more.
I
doesn't matter,
see
but-
some, but like if you go, like I have access to our Spotify account, which you'll see. So there's 8 listeners, 42 people, 42 streams, 49 followers. Not a lot, but that fluctuates. And I've noticed it fluctuates a lot too. I've noticed after we do a show, it spikes because people go, "Oh, I want to hear them," so they go online and listen to us, and then it'll drop off. So it's always like that, but we don't make money.
That's
with
not
the
where you're
online
making any
stuff.
money
No.
anyway.
We make money from CD. Like people still, a lot of people used to tell me, "Oh, they don't want nobody buys physical CDs anymore." I'm like, "Yeah, they do. They'll buy them at the show. They may not buy them at, at Sunrise Records or anything like that because." I mean, I haven't been to a record store in I don't know how long, but the thing is, when I'm there at a show and they've got a merch table in front of me of things you can't get in a store, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Even if I put it on the shelf and I don't play it for 6 months, I'll buy it anyways because you can't get it in the store.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we make money off T-shirts, off our CDs and shows and stuff. And we're going to come out with some new stuff eventually as well. So, but it's
Well, your T-shirt, that design of the
best.
T-shirt that we have is freaking awesome. We love it.
It's literally the nicest Ottawa band T-shirt I think out there.
well, there's a few. I mean,
No, but that one
That's the
says,
black
says
one.
Ottawa on it.
Is that the black
you know.
and white one?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
The bottle one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's really cool. I have it too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I actually paid for that image because, well, I mean, I do the graphic work myself, but it was actually a. You can go on like pages like iStock and stuff and buy images, and it costs very little, and just to buy the license to use it, and I think I paid like $20, I think, to buy the image, and it comes as a friggin' huge JPEG, right? So you can use it for posters, for shirts, whatever. So all I did was remove. It was actually called Snakebite Whiskey, which was kind of fitting because I liked the bottle and it had the S on it.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
so I just removed the name and I put our name and I put the city and the.
Oh yeah, it makes
Just
it's
a
great
you know,
shirt.
so it's we've sold out the first time we had 30 of them. They sold out within a month. This batch we still have some left, but every time we do a show they go quick. So,
Oh yeah, it's a sharp shirt, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
All right, guys. The question we've asked every podcast,
Mhm.
and we'll ask. It's good to have two people. 'cause
I
it's
do
fun.
enjoy that. Yeah,
Yep.
I have a feeling one of them's going to be for each of us, but we'll see.
Well, okay. Well, it's the tally's up there.
We're tied. I think.
Fire away.
Yeah, yeah.
80s or 90s music, if you had to choose.
90s for me.
You might swing both your way.
Oh.
I gotta choose 80s.
Carl!
80s for.
Yeah. No, we like the 80s. Don't go there,
But
Kevin. Just say 90s. That's it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I want to hear his rush.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, me
go
too.
for
80s
it. Go for
some
it.
of the metal because I grew
For
up.
sure.
Well, I mean, I grew up
Yeah.
AC/DC, Venom, all the Rat, like all those bands back in the day. However, I find like listening back now to these bands, it's kind of like the tacky
Yeah.
influence is there. I cannot get tired of 90s because still am a huge Nirvana fan. A lot of the bands that came out in the 90s, the grunge movement, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, all those.
Alice in Chains.
You cannot replace that decade.
No.
You know.
No, it's so influential too.
Exactly.
Soundgarden, like that whole Seattle scene, right? Alice in Chains is like you were
Yeah.
mentioning.
Yeah. So it's like the 90s, I think, for me is probably where I kind of love, although you go back to 70s and Zeppelin. And,
Yep.
there's-
Oh,
you
of
can go back
course.
and forth.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think the
70s,
90s
then 90s, then
Yeah,
80s for me.
exactly.
But, or 90s, 70s, 80s.
Oh, man. I don't know if I could. I don't know.
Go ahead, Carl.
I think my 80s thing is more like, because I agree with what Kevin said. Like, I love all the bands he mentioned. I love those bands. I still have all my CDs from the 90s and giant CD towers,
Yeah.
Just to just look at them sometimes. And it's like, it brings me back.
Can't
But-
believe I spent $20 on each one of those.
Right.
oh, yeah, exactly.
Right, back in the
Exactly.
day.
But the 80s is like, it's for me, it's more like, those were the formative years of a lot of
Yeah.
bands that I still continue to follow through the 90s and probably bought all their CDs. But those albums, first 1, 2, 3 albums that those bands released in the 80s were like almost all of them
you'll
were just
never see that again.
phenomenal.
Never-
Highway to Hell is 1980, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because Bond.
No, Back in Black.
Back in Black, yeah. Cause,
Back in Black was
yeah, 'cause
80,
Bond,
79
Bond
was-
Like
Yeah.
those first two Iron Maiden albums.
Yes.
Like,
Oh yeah, dude, those are heavy
they
and
blow my
awesome.
mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Paul Diano
just-
was a monster. Like he just. He was,
I like them both. I really do like
Yeah.
the 80s too. I just like to have that question.
Or those early Metallica albums,
Yep.
the Megadeth albums, everything, all this, the
everything, yeah.
Testament.
Yeah,
and-
Batteries in the 87,
Yeah,
right, or something like that. Yeah,
Like all that stuff was like when I was in high school. All the metal that came out back then, it was just like I remember.
Killer.
Like, I first heard Meshuggah back then, back
God,
in the
yeah.
80s. And I was
Yeah.
like, I was mesmerized. I'm like, who is this band? What is Meshuggah?
that's a great name.
Yeah, Meshuggah. That's cool. Okay, guys. Especially for this one, I came up with it's a game. It's called Either Or, Canadian edition. All right, ready? Bob Dylan or Neil Young?
Neil Young, for me.
I respect both those artists as songwriters, but I think they're both terrible singers.
It's your decision. It's whatever you want.
He's passing.
Yeah, okay, pass. Next,
Next question.
Springsteen or Bryan Adams?
Man,
I know.
I would have to go with Bryan Adams because I don't like Bruce Springsteen, but I'm not like a fanboy for Bryan Adams either.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever reason.
I'd go with Springsteen just because he had a lot of classic hits from the early 70s, I think, that still are really cool songs. you
Nice.
know.
yeah, like the River albums.
Yep,
Pretty.
that-
And you're seeing why
Nebraska.
why
Yeah,
we work
that- exactly.
well together because we have like
Well, that's
same
just
here.
it.
Mix,
Well, it's the
right?
same here.
That's why we kind of get I kind of want to get the reactions of this. I just came up with this today. Huey Lewis and the News or Doug and the Slugs?
I'm a Huey Lewis
Huey
man.
Lewis,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was great.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
I actually
Doug and the Slugs are good too, though.
Yep.
Shout out.
Yeah.
I actually met him at one of the jazz festivals.
Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty cool guy to me.
Yeah.
I used to go to the bar that when the festival used to be at Confederation Park. On the other side of City Hall, they used
Yep.
to have all the artists stay there.
Yep.
And the bar at the bottom is a big U-shaped thing. And
Right.
I would just hang out like lounges there until they come downstairs and just start
And then
buying.
just-
Start buying everybody drinks.
Yeah, there you go.
And I was a big fan of Back to the Future movies and everything. So when you get the
Oh,
soundtrack
yeah.
going in
Yeah.
there, it's like, you know,
You can't go wrong with Huey Lewis.
No, absolutely not.
Doug and the Slugs is our Canadian. I feel our Canadian version. This one I threw in for Gus. REM or the Tragically Hip.
oh, that's gonna. Yee.
What?
I mean, I'm leaning more towards the hip than the REM. I liked REM again back. I think it was '90s when they came out. They were around.
They were in the 80s, but yeah, the big
The-
albums
the big
came out in the
albums,
90s.
yeah.
Yeah, I got respect and love for
And
REM.
it was
but
kind of
I
like
would
they
choose
hit
the
a
hip.
pinnacle, and then they kind of, after a few big hits, they kind of stopped. You didn't really hear much about them anymore.
no.
Michael Stipe kind of just disappeared. And
Cash, man. They got
you
the
know,
cash.
REM
Yeah, so,
leans a
but,
little bit too much. To me, REM is a little too much on the countryside.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
Yeah, they hit for sure.
All right. And the last one, ZZ Top or Rush?
Oh God,
I know, right?
Stab me in the heart. when I
you're
do.
brutal.
Thank you very much.
Because I love me some ZZ Top. I mean, who doesn't?
Who
Like,
doesn't?
Billy Gibbons is just
So awesome.
Reverend
He's the coolest
Gibbons.
dude ever.
He's a savant when it comes to like just blues riffs.
You guys have your beards
Riffs.
for like that for a
Reverend
reason.
Billy.
Yeah.
But I mean, Rush, like Rush was one of the very long story short, one of the very first progressive rock metal bands I ever heard. And it was my uncle, who's only like 3 years older than me. He's my dad's youngest brother, and he. I think maybe he smoked me some blonde hash or something. I was like 11 teen or something. And he sat me down and made me listen to Rush Hemispheres and Boston, the very first album. And those were the first two things I ever heard that were like rock and roll, and full bands playing, and mastery of their instruments. And my little mind was blown, and I was hooked from day one.
I don't know. I saw three guys on a cover with white kimonos, and I just couldn't.
You couldn't
what the
unsee
hell
that.
is this? But I mean, I didn't get into Rush till later on after playing guitar. So, and ZZ Top to me was like the thing you wanted to, Lagrange and all kind of others, and Cheap Sunglasses, all those songs. And a lot of that has a lot of influence on how I write too, because it's it's kind of that southern rock or hard rock kind of,
got that
so the
dirty
vibe I
kind
get
of
from
boogie, boogie woogie dirty.
So to
Two
me-
great trios, by the way.
Yeah.
Two great trios.
We had a talk.
That's true. I didn't think of that.
Rest in peace, Dusty Hill. But
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sad.
That was well, I think that we appreciate you guys coming. Honestly, it was
Always.
it was
Thanks for
awesome
having
to
us.
have you. So
It's our first twosome. We love it.
there you go.
foursome.
Foursome. Oh,
We're
my
always
goodness.
having threesomes,
Yeah,
There's
now we're
little-
up to a foursome.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
progressing.
Make it-
No, thanks, guys. Honestly, when's the next show?
Next show will be September 16th in Brass Monkey. We're doing a 5-band night. That'll be
Fantastic.
something we put together, and then we're off to Kingston. in
Freak
November.
Fest.
Freak Fest. When's it start?
Bring
What
it
time?
back. Should be 7 o'clock. Hopefully, we'll have the first band on by 8, and then be done by midnight, I guess. But
That's great.
So, guys, if you're listening, go check them out, because I think I'm actually going to go to that show.
Yeah, and support your local bands.
That's it.
absolutely support your venues.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Until next time.
Right on.